Welcome to the Rise of the Trades podcast, the show dedicated to helping you to build, grow, and scale your trades or construction business. All rise for your host, Craig Wilkinson.
Welcome to the number one podcast helping trades and construction business owners to build, grow, and scale their businesses. In today's coaching episode, I'm going to be teaching you how to develop a positive, bulletproof growth mindset to achieve success both in business and in life. But before we go there, I want to share with you some new exciting news. And that is, we've invested into having a dedicated website built purely to host all of our marketing and business coaching podcast episodes on, so you can access them 24/7. But that's not it, because we've also built a new feature into our website that's a topics feature that now allows you to filter down by choosing a topic, maybe marketing or finance, on whatever it is that you want to consume content on to learn. Now, it's free access, and all you've got to do is save this URL to access our website anytime. And that is www.tradesfreedomclub.com/podcast. And all of our podcast episodes are now kept on there, ready for you to go and consume. So let's transition over to today's coaching episode. The pressure of life in general, and compound with that, you running your own business, well, that brings a lot of stresses, a lot of strains, and sometimes that overwhelming feeling. And running your own business can sometimes feel like a lonely old place, because even your husband or your wife or your partner, even your mates and your friends, they don't understand what you go through on a daily basis in building, growing and scaling a business. So is there any wonder that sometimes it can feel all too much? I know it has done for me over years. The amount of times I've wanted to throw in the towel, I've had enough, I'm packing in, I'm getting a job, everybody can just go and fuck off because my head is ready for exploding, customers doing me head in, my team's doing me head in, I'm not making money, I'm grafting all these hours, I'm paying my subbies more than I'm paying myself, my marketing's not working, I just can't cope, I've had enough. And I suspect that if you've been running your business for a number of years, you will have hit times like that where you just feel like throwing in the towel and you've had enough. Now, when we get to that point, something starts to change within our mindset. And we start to question what we're actually doing, and is it worth the while and our time putting in and investing into our business. Limiting beliefs and negative self-talk starts to creep in. And before we know it, we've fallen into a bad rut where we're on this hamster wheel, grinding it out day in, day out. But there's no passion there. There's no love for the business. There's no excitement. There's no energy, because your business and life in general has beaten you down and beaten all that out of you. Now, when we start to fall into a rut, the danger is that we stay there and we never change. Yeah, there might be some weeks where things go well, but ultimately we end up dropping back down and we can't seem to get out of this rut that we've fallen into. And I know, and I've experienced and felt this at first hand, because the first 13 years of me running my joinery and construction business, I ran it with a negative, closed mindset. And in actual fact, back in 1996, my life took a turn for the worst and I hit rock bottom. Business decisions, personal circumstances and relationships home led me to hitting rock bottom, where I never, ever will ever go again. Because the pain of having that negative closed mindset and hitting rock bottom is one of my drivers and one of my geniuses today that helps me stay top of my game and drives me to the success that I've achieved in my life to date. You see, it took me until the age of 36 years old to snap out of this negative rut and to make that shift and that conditional reprogramming of myself and my mindset to what I now say and believe that I've now achieved and got, which is I've got a growth mindset and I've got a bulletproof mindset. And I'm telling you now, nothing, and I mean this, nothing can derail me, because I am like a machine with the most powerful, bulletproof mindset that will never stop and never rest until I've achieved my goals. If everything that I ever wanted and all my goals were on the other side of this wall that I'm looking at now, that could be a 6-inch reinforced Matabar wall, I would chew the fucker down with my hands. I'd rip it down with my bare teeth to get to what I want to get to on that other side. But that took me years and years of developing this mindset and homing in on this skill that I've now got. And this skill is not just something that's helped me to change my business and life. For the past 14 years, I've stood on over 500 stages and helped over 20,000 business owners to make that conditional shift and change in their own mindsets and their own business and their own lives. So what I want you to do is grab a notepad, grab a pen, grab a tablet, and let's get stuck in. The number one question I've been asked over all these years is this: Craig, how did you really do it? How did you go from that busy fool, struggling carpenter and joiner to building, growing, scaling and selling a hugely successful and profitable construction company, then becoming the UK's number one trades and construction coach, standing on 500 stages, helping generate over £100 million worth of sales for your inner circle members, winning Yorkshire's Businessman of the Year and being an entrepreneur, having 4 successful businesses like you've got today? How the hell did you do it? And the answer I give shocks people. And that answer is this: I had a massive shift and change in my mindset. Let me say it again. I had a massive shift and change in my mindset. And they look at me, gone out and say, no, hang on a minute. No, tell me really, how did you do it? You know, give me the silver bullet, give me the magic pill, because I want to take it now. And I say, listen, I'm telling you exactly what I did. Your key to your success in your business and life lies within your own mindset. And if you've got a negative, closed mindset and you're stuck in a rut and you've lost all energy, you're falling out of love with your business and you've got negative self-talk happening, then you're going to really struggle to get your business to where you want it to be. However, if we can shift and change our mindset and we become a growth mindset, we become open to new ways and new strategies and new approaches of doing things, and we're motivated and energized to be able to take action on the knowledge that we're learning, then once we open that mindset up and create that bulletproof mindset, that is when things start to change in your business and in your life. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is write down this very popular quote that you'll hear me saying all the time. And you'll hear me say many quotes because I'm wanting to put these quotes into your subconscious part of your mind, because your subconscious part of your mind can't tell between what's real, reality, and fiction, fact or false. Whatever you tell your subconscious part of your mind and brain, it believes. So write this down word for word, because this is one of my one-liners that I'm going to constantly drop in on you. The business is never the problem. The problem is always the mindset of the business owner. Let me say it again. The business is never the problem. The problem is always the mindset of the business owner. So what do I mean by that? Well, this might sound a bit harsh, but it's true. The biggest obstacle, the biggest hurdle, the biggest blockage, the biggest bottleneck that you've got in your business and in your life is, guess who? It's you. You're the one that's holding your life back. You're the one that's holding your business back because you've not opened your mindset up. It's fixed and it's closed. And you've got a belief system that believes, I can't do that, Craig, or I don't know how to do it. Let me give you an example. And this is what I mean by the business is never the problem. The problem is always the mindset of the business owner. People say to me, Craig, just tell me how to generate more leads. That's all I want to know. And I'll say, okay, if you want to generate more leads, this is what you need to do. Go away and shoot these 10 types and styles of videos. Then go and build a lead magnet, and then go and put that lead magnet on a new landing page that you're going to build. Then sat behind that landing page is going to be an automated marketing and sales funnel. Go away and do that. Now, some people will say, what? What the hell's that lot? I ain't got a clue what you're talking about, Craig. Others will say, I'm not shooting videos. I don't like the look or how I sound or how I look, and I'm not confident. I don't know how to build landing pages and automated marketing funnels, Craig. Okay, you don't know how to do it now, but go away and do it. And some people will say, oh, that's too much like hard work. I can't be arsed. So they'll stay stuck where they are, not generating leads. But when I say to my inner circle members, go away, shoot these 10 videos, build a lead magnet, build a landing page, and build an automated marketing and sales funnel, they'll go, okay, Craig, and go away and do it. Now, what's the difference? The only difference is my inner circle members have been coached by me to have a growth, bulletproof, open mindset where they are willing to change, where they are willing to do things that other people aren't prepared to do. So they get results. I have other people coming to me and saying, Craig, how can I make more profit? I need to make more money. Just tell me how to make more profit. I don't need none of this mindset shit. Just tell me how to make more profit. And I'll say, that's easy. Go away, work out your gross and your net profit margins on your last 30 jobs, build a cash flow forecast like that, and then go and increase your profit margins by 12%. Now, some people will say, well, I don't know how to work out my gross or my net profit margins. And I'm not going to go back and do that over 30 jobs because I ain't got time. And I'm not going to do a cash flow forecast. And hang on a minute, you want me to increase my prices by 12%? I can't, Craig, because if I increase my prices by 12%, I'm already charging more than my competitors. Therefore, I'm never going to win work. So no, I'm not going to do it. You tell my inner circle members, go away, sort out your gross and your net profit margins, build a cash flow forecast and increase your profit margins by 12%, then guess what they'll do? They'll go away and do it. Why? Because they've got a different mindset. Because they've developed a growth open mindset where they're willing to change. So when I say the business is never the problem is always the mindset of the business owner, that's exactly what I mean. The challenges and obstacles that you're facing in your business and life right now can be resolved, but the challenge is you opening up your mindset and taking a different approach and a different way of looking at things, getting yourself fired up and motivated to go away and take action on what I tell you to do. So, the business is never the problem, you're the problem, and until that mindset starts to shift and change, you're going to be stuck in the same position you are now for the future. So I'm hoping you're sat there going, actually, he might have got a point here. Maybe we do have to change our approach. If we change our approach, we might get a different result. And I'm telling you now, that result will come and you can achieve anything. I'm proof of it. Thousands of other business owners that I've coached are proof of it. You've just got to change that mindset. So here's how I'm going to ask you to start to change your mindset. And this is where I've asked you to get a notepad and pen to start making notes. Because the first thing is, that you need to be aware of is there are 4 zones that you've got to escape from. And these are what I call my 4 escape zones. So let me just explain what each one of these zones are, but you make notes. So zone number 1 is a zone that you'll be sat under right now. And that's called your comfort zone. You'll have heard of it. You talk about people sat in the comfort zone, and that's exactly where you are now. You might be feeling a little bit of pain or a bit of discomfort in your business and your life, but ultimately you've got a big comfort blanket that's wrapped around you. And what my job is to do is for you to take that comfort blanket off and accept that something's got to change. But the only way it's going to change is if you take that comfort blanket off and go and throw it in skip now and get rid of it, because the magic happens outside of the comfort zone. And you're sat currently in a comfort zone where you're not growing and you're not developing. So number 1, we've got to get you out of that comfort zone. Zone number 2 is what I call the fear zone. And the fear zone is you are fearing moving into doing something because you don't know what the outcome's going to be. It's the fear of the unknown. And that's what's preventing you from moving forward. Yeah, but Craig, what happens if I try this and it doesn't work? What happens if I invest money into this and it backfires? Well, listen, if you follow the strategies that I share with you and you do it my way, they're proving to work. So let's get rid of that fear to start off with. And I can give you thousands and thousands of examples or testimonials of people that follow my strategies and it works. So that's a limiting belief that you've got to break down to start off with. But instead of asking yourself the question, what happens if it doesn't work? I want you to start asking yourself the question, what happens when it works? Because if we can start to move that fixed closed mindset of focusing on the negative, instead we start focusing on the growth bulletproof mindset and the positives. It's the positives that we've got to start looking forward to. Now, naturally, we're going to feel fearful of doing something what we don't know the result's going to be, but that's the whole part of the fear zone. We're stepping out of the comfort zone and we're going to accept that we're going to go into this fear zone that might feel a tad uncomfortable to start off with. Now, the third zone is what I call the learning zone. And this is where you've had the balls to step into the fear zone. You've realised it's not as bad as you actually thought. And what I've got to do now is get you out of that fear zone, because it's not that bad, and get you into the learning zone. And the learning zone is exactly what you're doing right now, where you start to consume content. You get a business or marketing coach like me or somebody else. You start listening to podcasts or YouTube videos, and you start learning new knowledge that's going to help lift you higher, that's going to help lift your business and your life to a whole new level. And when we start to consume new knowledge, right, and we know that it's not that fearful and we're outside as comfort zones, that new knowledge, when we start taking action on it, pushes us over to the fourth zone. And that fourth zone is what I call the growth zone. Write it down, the growth zone. Because if you're consuming new knowledge and learning like you're doing right now by listening to me on this podcast, and then you take massive action and you go away and start to implement what you're learning, then things start to change. All of a sudden, results start to pop up and milestones start to get achieved and goals start to be hit, and big decisions you've been procrastinating on for months or years. You start making decisions, and all of a sudden, the compound effect kicks in and growth starts to happen. But you can't go from being sat in your comfort zone today to expecting miracles happening tomorrow, because you've got to get through the fear zone. You've got to get into the learning zone. You've got to start getting off your backside and taking massive action on what you're learning in that learning zone. And then you hit the growth zone. And that's where things start to change. That's when things start to happen. And when you start to see results coming in, You get your bit between your teeth, your motivation levels and your energy levels go up, and all of a sudden you're now taking massive, massive, massive action and you're getting more results. So the first thing I want you to understand is those 4 zones that you're going to have to escape to start to change your mindset and make that conditional shift. Now, the next thing I want to share with you are the 4 steps to creating that positive change. And you cannot make positive change happen in your business or your life without going through these 4 steps. So again, make some notes on what I'm going to share with you now. Step number 1 is what we call the mindset shift. And that's exactly what we're talking about right now. Accepting that our mindset has got to change. I'm not saying what the mindset you've got's wrong now. Perhaps it is. Perhaps deep down you know that you're in a rut and you have got a negative mindset and life and business is hard at the minute because you just can't seem to shake it. Or maybe you've already started developing your mindset and you've been into personal development. If that's the case, brilliant, but we can always continue to improve our mindset. So step number 1 is the mindset shift, accepting that I need to change my mindset. I am going to commit to doing it, which then moves us over to step number 2, which is what I call motivation. And if we can have a new approach by having a new mindset in step number 1, and we move over to step number 2, which is motivation, we've now got to get ourselves fucking fired up and motivated to holy hell. Because that is me all over. My inner circle member said to me, Craig, you never fucking stop. How the hell do you do what you do? You're like a machine. You're in our accountability WhatsApp groups at 4:15 in the morning, posting, and you're in gym at 6 o'clock in the morning. You're doing all this thing. Yeah, I do it because I've got to stay motivated. So step number 2 is you need to get yourself fired up and motivated. So what are you going to do that? Because it's all right having the right mindset, but if you haven't got the motivation to start to move to step number 3, then it's pointless, isn't it? So what do you need to start to do in step 2 to get yourself motivated, to give yourself a kick up the arse, to get that fire back in your belly, to get that love, that passion, that drive, that determination back in your business and back in your life? Because without that, you're going to struggle. Step number 3 is called action. Because once we've got the right mindset, step number 1, and we fire ourselves up and get motivated in step number 2, the next thing we need to do is take some flipping action into it on what we're learning. Don't forget now we're in that learning zone and we've got to take action. There's no point in being motivated and taking no action because that's not going to solve any problems. What's going to solve the problems is you getting motivated and you taking action. And you'll hear me talking about massive action equals massive results. The more action you take, the more you roll your sleeves up, the more you get stuck in, the more you go head first and charge like a rhino into battle. The more action you take, then clearly the more results you're going to get. So step number 3 is action. Step number 4 is results. Because now we've got the right mindset, step number 1. Now we're motivated, step number 2. Now we're taking massive action in step number 3. Step number 4 equals results. You're now going to start to see the results appearing. But you can't get the results if you sat underneath your comfort blanket with a negative mindset, stuck in a rut with no motivation, taking no action whatsoever to achieve any different results. It's never going to work. So these 4 steps you've got to put in place. 1, sort your mindset out. 2, get motivated. 3, take action. 4, reap the results. So I'm going to ask you 2 questions. Number 1, which zone are you currently sat in? Are you under the comfort zone, the fear zone, the learning zone, or the growth zone? And my second question is, out of the 4 steps to make positive change, which is mindset, motivation, action, and results, which one of them 4 do you need to start working on now? And I want you to write them down, and then I want you to take action on each one of those answers that you've just written down. And this is where I started at 36 years old. I was 36 years old, grown man, married with children. And I developed this mindset, this negative, closed mindset, not because I wanted to. It had just crept in over years because my business and my life had pushed me in that direction. And it's these things that I had to start to understand. And when I started to understand this and said, actually, this is right. It might sound a little hocus pocus to some people, but in actual fact, how I've just described it to you is how it was described to me all them years ago. And I sat down and I thought, Craig, something's got to change, because if you continue to run your life and business the way it's running now, everything's going to end. There's going to be nothing left. And I accepted that I needed help. And I were a proud man. And nobody likes to ask for help, particularly in business, because it's your baby. You want to do it your way. But if your way is digging you deeper and deeper and deeper into a hole, then surely you've got to accept that you're going to need help somewhere along the lines. And that's exactly what I did. And I understood those 4 zones. And I realised I'd been sat under my comfort blanket. And then I understood that there were them 4 steps to making that change. And I needed to start to work on step number 1, which was my mindset. And when I started to do this, that was the catalyst for change. And this is where, when I'm coaching people on my inner circle or wherever I'm presenting on stage, these are the first areas that we've got to understand. And if we can understand these and accept them and actually realise that we need a bit of help and support, then that's the first step. And Martin Luther King Jr. has an amazing quote, and I use it all the time. And that's this: you don't have to see the full staircase, you just have to take the first step. And that's all I'm asking you to do right now, is to take that first step and acknowledge that something's got to change. So how do we actually develop this growth and bulletproof mindset then, Craig? What are the things that I need to do to go away? What actions can I go away and take? So I'm going to share with you now 10 actions that I want you to go away and implement. The first 5 actions are actions that are all based around you personally. Remember, the business is never the problem's always the mindset of the business owner. We've already established that. So if we're being hand on heart and honest, you're the problem, okay? As harsh as it sounds. So the first 5 are going to be starting to work on you personally. The following 5, the last 5, are going to be the ones that I'm going to be asking you to go away and take some form of action on. And these are more like tasks, if you like. So let's start with the first 5. How do we develop your positive bulletproof mindset for you personally? Okay. As a busy business owner, I would thought that you've not got a great deal of time spare. Maybe you have. Maybe you've already cracked time management. But in my experience on where I was when I got this negative mindset and where the people that I coach are, is time is a massive issue. And what we do as business owners is we start to sacrifice the time that we spend on us. And I call this, write this down, number 1 is called me time. You've got to start to get some me time and start to spend time on the most important person in the world. And yes, that's you. And for many of you, you'll be sacrificing your time for your business and for your family and for your loved ones. And if you've got children, you'll be sacrificing your time for your children as well. And I get that. And sometimes some of you will just think, do you know what? I just haven't got time in a day to do anything because everybody and everything just consumes my time and I have no time left for me. And that's what I call me time. So I want you to start to block out in your default diary on putting some time aside every week to spend on the most important person in the world, and that's you. And I know that you want to dedicate time for your family and your loved ones and your team and your staff and your customers. I get all that. But if you're not firing on all cylinders, if you're not at the top of your game and you've got a negative closed mindset, you've got no energy, you're a bit down in dumps, all that energy is being passed on to other people, you are not helping them and you're not helping yourself. If you were fired up and you were motivated and you were positive and you were putting positive vibes out there and people were bouncing off your energy, then they're going to benefit as well. So you've got to spend time on you. So number one is me time. Find some time every week to start to spend on you. And it's not selfish. You need this for yourself and you need this to help other people. Number two, I want you to write down health and well-being. Because your health and well-being is increasingly, it's mega important. We've heard, haven't we, in over the last X amount of years of how, people are damaging themselves, even down to suicide because you just don't know what's going off behind closed doors and in people's minds. So your health and well-being is absolutely paramount. You cannot build and grow and scale a business with a negative, closed, doom and gloom, interrupt mindset. And the only way you're going to get out of that is by looking after yourself, the health and well-being. Are you with me? So what are you currently doing to improve your own health, well-being and your mindset? What do you actually do? Because if you're at the top of your game and you're looking after yourself, then you're going to have more energy, you're going to make better decisions, and when we're feeling down in dumps and a bit sluggish, we make decisions that come back to bite us in the backside. So as part of this me time, number two is your health and your well-being, you've got to start to look after, because when we can start to get that into gear, things will start to change. Number three, exercise and fitness. What exercise and how are you keeping yourself fit? Because I'm guessing for some of you, before you had a business, you might have gone to the gym, or you might have played football or done something with your girlfriends perhaps, right? And your health and well-being were a lot better than it were before you started a business. But because you don't have time to look after yourself, that fitness goals and that exercise goes down the pan. And that's when we start to clap on weight, we start to be sluggish, all that fatigue starts to kick in, we make bad decisions, it has a snowball effect. So number three is exercise and fitness. Number four, your diet and your nutrition has got to change. Because back when I had that negative mindset, I was knocking 6 bottles of Stella or Peroni or whatever lager I was drinking back then, I was knocking them back because I'd had a bad or a rough day at work and I needed a drink, or I thought I needed a drink. So I was knocking beer back. Some of you might be knocking a bottle of wine back a night. Some of you will be eating takeaways constantly and not looking after your diet and your food that you're consuming and eating. And come on, we all know that whatever fuel we put inside our body is going to make a difference on how our body performs. So if we're drinking shit and we're eating shit, then guess how we're going to feel? You've got it, shit. So we've got to spend time on our diet and our nutrition. And the fifth one to develop yourself personally is the hobbies and your fun. The hobbies that you used to have before you started a business. The hobbies that you used to have before you had kids. I'm sure somewhere along the lines you all enjoyed having fun and doing things, whether that were individually or as a team collective or a team sport, but all that lot's gone. It's disappeared because your life is governed by the time you've got available and how you're feeling. Now, I lead by example. And I have dedicated time in my default diary every week to spend on me. I have my me time. My health and well-being at the time of recording this podcast, I'm 53-year-old. I am fitter. I'm faster. I've got bigger muscles. Check me out on Facebook. I've got a six-pack and I'm 53 years old. I train 5 times a week. I've got a PT that drills me and keeps me top of my game. I've got a diet that I stick to, where I've got carbs and nutrients and protein and fats that I stick to. I'm today 450 days today alcohol free. I never thought in a million years I'd never be able to stop drinking alcohol, but I have. 450 days without a sip of alcohol. Hobbies. I've got hobbies. I've got my fitness hobbies. I've got my football hobbies. I'm managing coach my daughter's football team. I've got hobbies. I have fun. Why? Because I've invested that back into myself. So the first 5 things you need to do as a recap: number 1, me time. Number 2, health and well-being. Number 3, exercise and fitness. Number 4, diet and nutrition. Number 5, hobbies and fun. So what I want you to do is I want you to write down now just one change that you're going to make now. Not tomorrow, next week. I'm talking now. What's the number 1 change that you're going to do now? And I know for some of you, you're going to want to put something down for all 5 areas. But what I want to say is this. It took me probably 17, 18 years to home in on the regime and the routines that I have, right? So trying to do all this in one go is probably going to be a step too far for some of you. So don't set yourself up for failure to start off with. Just choose one thing. And it might be, do you know what, Craig? You're right. I'm going to put 4 hours in my diary every week and take half a day off. It might be 2 hours on a Monday or 2 hours on a Friday to spend on me. And just start with that. And then the week after, introduce something else. So then you've got 2 new things running. But trying to do it all in a oneer is probably going to be a stretch too far. So you're going to set yourself up for failure. And that closed mindset's going to creep in and go, I can't fucking do this. It's too much like hard work. Are you with me? So they're the first 5, and they're all about you, the obstacle and the hurdle in your own life and your own business. Let's get that shit sorted. Okay, the next 5 are all actions that I'm going to ask you to go away and start to implement. So the first one is creating a morning and an evening routine. Routines are incredibly powerful. You see, the thing is right now, you've conditioned yourself to behave and act and do things on a daily basis in a certain way because you've created a pattern. You've created a conditioning inside yourself and you've got a routine, whether you like it or not, whether you know it or not, you've got a routine. So you'll get up at roughly the same time every day. You'll think the same thoughts in the morning every day. You'll do the same routine in the morning before you leave for work. There's certain things that you do on autopilot. And what I'm here to say is, you've got to develop a new morning routine. A new morning routine where you do something different. You get up earlier, you might get up earlier, you might go to gym, you might do something different to start off with that's going to change the way in which you start your day. Now, I'm going to be sharing with you on another podcast my morning and daily routine. Because what I actually do to keep me top of the game, what I actually do to keep me as a machine, not my words, my Inner Circle members' words, is I have a strict morning routine that's insane. And I want you to start to pick some of the ideas out that I share in another podcast episode that I'll shoot for you on developing a morning routine. So getting up earlier, going to gym, taking some me time out in the morning perhaps, but doing something completely different to what you're doing now to get yourself fired up and motivated first thing in the morning. Likewise, you're going to need an evening routine. So instead of knocking 6 bottles of lager back and a bottle of wine a night, eating a curry, then going to bed and playing on your phone for an hour and looking at Facebook or TikTok, which is serving you no purpose, what's your evening routine going to be? So I have an evening routine that consists of a gratitude journal that I write in, and I write down my wins of the day, my intentions for the following day. There's a certain routine that I follow at evening as well as in the morning. So number 1, you need to develop a new morning and evening routine. Number 2, I want you listening to podcasts like this, podcasts of other motivational, inspirational people or coaches or whatever floats your boat. I want you to listen to podcasts. I want you to listen to audiobooks. I want you on YouTube, and I want you consuming motivational content that's going to get you fired up and motivated. But at the same time, I want you to listen to content that's going to be pushing you into that learning zone. So what new knowledge can you learn from podcasts, audiobooks and YouTube that's going to get you fired up and motivated, but you're going to be learning new content at the same time? Okay, that's number 2. Number 3, I want you to consider purchasing a gratitude journal or a daily journal. And I have a gratitude journal where every morning, as soon as my eyes open at 4:15 to 4:30 a.m., yes, a.m. every morning, when my eyes open, the first thing I do is turn to my bedside table and I have a gratitude journal. And in that gratitude journal, I write down 10 things that I'm most grateful for that day. Because I want to get up in the morning with positive vibes. I want to shoot positive affirmations into that universe before my feet have even hit the carpet. So I write down 10 things I'm grateful for. I write down my goals for the day. And then obviously at the end of the day, I write down the goals that I've achieved and my intentions for the following day as part of my evening routine. So I want you to consider getting a gratitude journal, getting a notepad, getting a pen, and start writing down the things that you're fucking grateful for. Because too many of us are constantly chasing the future and the things that we don't have that we want, but we're not actually grateful for what we've actually got. Because for many of us, when we sit down and we look at what we've actually got a lot. Yes, we're goal driven. Yes, we're winners. Yes, we're leaders. Yes, we want more, but let's not always focus about the future. Let's focus on what we've got now. So what are you grateful for now? Number 4, affirmations and meditation. Now, wait, hang on before you stop this podcast and go, this guy's on cloud cuckoo land. Meditation is a joiner. What's he doing meditating? Listen, affirmations are mini statements that you say to yourself over and over and over and over again to plant those messages in your subconscious part of your brain. Because remember what I said earlier, your subconscious part of your brain cannot tell between fact and fiction, what's real and what's not. So if we keep saying little mini statements over and over and over again to ourselves each day, our subconscious mind picks up on them and they start to believe them. So one of my affirmations is this. I say every single morning when I get up, Craig, the business is never the problem. The problem is always the mindset of the business owner. To keep me on my toes, to think, Craig, stop moaning, stop groaning, stop whinging, stop whining, stop bitching. You're the problem. Fucking sort it out. Are you with me? So little mini statements are called affirmations that you can say repeatedly over and over and again that train your subconscious brain to believe it. Meditation, I don't shave my hair off, get a robe and go and sit on an hill, cross-legged humming. I don't do that. I've got an app. Check this app out. It's called Headspace.com. Headspace.com. And I've been using Headspace for it's got to be 8 years. And what Headspace is, it's an app that there's a free version and there's a paid version. I pay for the paid version and it's nothing. It costs hardly anything. But these are light meditation voices of people talking to you about different things. So when you go into Headspace, if you're feeling guilty for something, there are meditations around guilt. If you're feeling angry or you've got anxiety, there are meditations around anger and anxiety. So whatever feeling that you have got, there is a meditation for each one. So all I do in the morning, after I've said my affirmations, I come downstairs, I put kettle on, I'll sit at dining room table, it'll be 4:30 in the morning, I'll put my earpods in, and I do 10 minutes of light meditation on headspace.com. Why? Because in the morning now I've done my gratitude journal, it's all positive. I've said my affirmations, it's all positive. I've done 10 minutes of light meditation, it's all positive. Then what I do is I go to the gym, but I'll come on to that in another session, on another podcast about my morning routine. So affirmations and meditation is number 4. Number 5 is what I call create a new circle of influence. Create a new circle of influence. So what do I mean by this? Well, you will be hanging around with certain people. And the people that you are hanging around with, whether you are conscious or unconscious of this, they will be influencing you, and they will be influencing your decisions on what you do in your business and in your life. Because if you hang around with people long enough, you will start to pick up on their traits and their habits. And if they've got some bad habits, then guess what? They're going to rub off on you. So years ago, when I were in that negative place, when I looked at my circle of influence and who I were hanging around with, well, let's just say there were people that I shouldn't have been hanging around with when I hit rock bottom. Let's just leave it at that. So their bad habits and their bad attitude and their negative mindsets were rubbing off on me, putting me deeper and deeper into that hole. So I had to change my circle of influence, and I had to start hanging around with people that actually wanted to see me succeed and help me pull me out of this rut that I were in. And the sad reality is that sometimes your circle of influence can sometimes be family members or friends. And what I'm here to say to you is this: if you've got family members or friends that are negatively influencing you, or deep down, they're secretly wanting you to fail in your business, in your life, and they're nice to your face and they tell you, oh, well done for launching that new website, or well done for buying that new van, or well done for growing your business. They tell you that on face value, but deep down underneath it all, their mindset is closed and negative, and they are subliminally behind the scenes wanting you to fail. Deep down, they want you to fail. And the reason why they want you to fail is this: they want to drag you back down to their low standards so they can make themselves feel better about them and their circumstances. Because some people just do not like to see other people winning. Some people do not like to see other people succeeding in business or in life. So what they'll do is they'll try and drag you back down to their level because they haven't got in him what you're prepared to do. And they know that, so they drag you down. You've got to get rid of anyone that's dragging you down. And unfortunately, some of you will be hanging around with family and good friends that you might have had for years that you've got to let go. And that's exactly the position I found myself in at 36 years old, where I had to let some of my family and some of my friends go to allow me to be able to move on to that next level. And if they wanted to come with me, great. But if they didn't want to come with me, they stay stuck where they are. And that's one of the best decisions I made, because looking back now where I am to where some of these people are, they are still stuck where they were, and I've moved on. But I had to make a big decision to let them go. And it's okay to let people go. So just to recap on the tasks that I'm asking you to go away and do. Number 1, create a new morning and evening routine. Number 2, I want you listening to podcasts, audiobooks, YouTube, Spotify, all the places where you can consume motivational and educational content. Number 3, complete a daily journal and start to be grateful for what you've got and write down your intentions and your goals and your wins and stay focused and stay positive. Number 4, affirmations and meditation. Number 5, create a new circle of influence. Stop hanging around with the people that aren't benefiting you. Come and hang around with me. Come and hang around with my Trades Freedom Club members inside our Facebook group that's linked up in the description of this podcast. Come and hang out with us and we'll help lift you to that next level. Now again, I want you just to take one of those 5 that I've just mentioned, write that down and commit now that you are going to change whatever that is. You are going to go away and implement that. So you're going to be coming off the back of this podcast session with one action that you're going to take for you personally, which could be me time, could be a diet, it could be exercise, your fitness. You're going to take one of them and then you're going to take one off the tasks, which could be, do you know what? I'm going to get up an hour earlier and I'm going to go out for a walk and I'm going to listen to a podcast while I'm out for a walk. It could be something as simple as that. And all I want you to do is implement those 2 things starting today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, not when you get back after kids' holidays or whatever you're doing. Stop all them bullshit excuses and get on with it now. And then once that's become a good habit and you've formed that and you've reconditioned yourself, then and only then are you going to drop another one from both categories in. And then you'll be doing 4 things. But again, like I've already said, if you try and do all of these 10 in one go, it's a stretch too far and you're setting yourself up for failure. So that is how you are going to develop a positive, bulletproof growth mindset that's going to help you succeed in your business and in your life. Now, I'm going to ask you to do 2 simple things as a favour, if you would. And that is, if you're getting value from these free marketing and business coaching podcasts, what I'd love you to do is I would love you to leave me a review on whichever platform you're listening to this on right now. It'll take you 30 seconds, a minute tops. But if you could leave us a review, because every time you leave a review, it's pushing our podcast out to more people. And that's the idea. We want to help and support more trades, men and women in their journey to achieve more time, more profit and more freedom in the business. The second thing I'm going to ask you to do is head over to our Facebook group and community and tell me that you've listened to this podcast, episode number 9, and tell me what you've learned from it and what are the actions that you're now going to go away and take. And let's hold each other accountable inside our Trades Freedom Club Facebook group. And the link to that group, if you're not already in it, is within the description of this podcast episode. So thank you so much for joining me. I really want to see a massive change and a transformation starting within you. And if this episode has given you the kick up the arse that you needed, then that's brilliant. My job here today is done. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.